Subscribe to Dave's Multiverse on YouTube, Spotify.
Sponsored by Spores MD for your personal mind-body wellness journey.
All right. Greetings, humans. We are live in the Multiverse on April 28th, 2026, joined by my good buddy and collaborator, Jason, Shaman 711. Welcome back to the Multiverse, my friend.
What's up, planet Earth? How you doing, King David of the Multiverse? Thank you for having me on with you, sir, to have this conversation, which neither of us is completely certain which way it shall go or lead us. But it does seem one worth having in the world which we all find ourselves in. So even though our planned expert on a show about missing and potentially dead experts, our area expert is not feeling well, so we're going to carry on. Correct?
We're going to carry on. Shout out KD123 for joining us again. Yeah, we're going to carry on. Look, my friend Ashish is a automated driving expert who basically went completely against the grain at I'm going to butcher his story, but he went completely against the grain at Arizona State University studying automated driving. And then because he went completely against the grain, he got blackballed totally. And he's had a string of mysterious illnesses since then. He's had a bunch of weird stuff happen to him. And I don't want to share his story too much, but we also have a friend from our Mars Disclosure community who feels like something similar is happening to them. And, you know, in this time of truth seeking and misinformation and disinformation and stuff, a lot of people are feeling uneasy. And, you know, I felt a little anxious doing this topic today myself, and not because I felt like somebody's going to be out to get me. I just don't want to get anything wrong. So, like, if you guys are watching here and we get something wrong tonight, or you know something we don't, please tell us. Drop it in the chat. We'll even try to look it up live because, you know, we're just trying to find the truth up in here.
You mentioned our friend. Did you mention his name from Mars Community? I don't want to mention any names.
No, I did not. No.
Okay, we won't mention his name then. But we have him, and we have your friend you mentioned. And here's what I would say to the audience from my own personal, firsthand life experience and people I have known and had conversations with on both ends of what I'm about to say. Gang stalking, right? Harassing people by entities for that either take it for pay or that is a very real phenomenon, right? That exists. People get targeted, people get harassed for
The
reasons.
mob used to do it. Why wouldn't the government?
Government, whoever, right? I'm not even going to tell you who. I can just attest to its reality. So some of the people that were on the perhaps not good side of it, I don't want to say what they were involved in and what groups they were involved in, but they confirmed for me. Hell, they made sure I saw it. And then I've had, very dear friends that have been victims of very provable and very actual, type events when, it's just a real thing, right? So that's just the groundwork I would lay for anybody when you mention something like we've got friends that feel like some stuff like this is happening to them. It happens.
It happens. And so, I mean, look, people do it to their ex-boyfriends or girlfriends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck with them and make them think they're crazy, right?
And in divorce cases and custody cases,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
there's an industry, man. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, you can pay somebody to screw with your ex-partner in order to make them look crazy. And yeah, exactly. So this is not a new phenomenon. This is like it goes across all areas of culture, not just science. But again, if you didn't read the title, we are talking about 11 scientists dead or missing, the FBI probe. We're going to cover well, just look. In my research getting into this, I just realized that this is messy. It's confusing. It's everywhere. There's lawyer channels covering it. There's true crime channels covering it. I saw forensic psychologists covering it. It's been on Fox and Friends, Fox News, Newsweek, CNN, you name it. This is everywhere. So why not the multiverse cover it? And I just want to say first that this is like serious stuff. People are either dead or missing. So I want to say that with all sensitivity to their family and friends and all that stuff. We are not trying to spread myths or disinformation. We're trying to do the opposite. And we're just trying to weed through this, literally weed through this. So we're going to go through a handful of reports, including look at Wikipedia, and what they're saying. I want to give like a broad look at what everyone is reporting. Okay. And then we're going to cover the basic facts of each case and just try to see what it is that we're looking at. I'm going to share a few clips from some few news segments and stuff like that. But look, the FBI is spearheading a federal investigation into this right now, supposedly, of the 10 to 11 deaths and disappearances of scientists and personnel. I want to get that clear. These are not all scientists. Some of them are just personnel that worked, like there was an HVAC guy that worked at JPL. Okay. But he had to have high clearance because guess what? You need HVAC and you need toilets. A janitor has to have a high clearance. Okay.
Sure.
I also want to thank Julian Dory, who's probably not watching, but I watched a shitload of his work over the last week to get prepared for this. And all these people are tied to either sensitive nuclear, aerospace, or defense research from either JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Los Alamos National Laboratory, other Air Force labs, etc. And the FBI is coordinating with the Departments of Energy and Defense and state and local police to check for links involving classified access or foreign actors, which, like take that for what you may. This is what we keep getting. There's no confirmed pattern or foul play that has been established yet. This is what the FBI is saying. Officials say the cases vary widely, but the cluster raised enough national security flags for Congress and House Oversight Committee to launch a parallel probe. What do you think about that, Jason?
First of all, let me echo what you said. All due respect to any and all individuals actually involved in any of these cases, which we will speak about. Our overriding goal, I think, is that we realize that it is worthy of attention. One line, Dave, I guess, that comes to mind, and again, this is all hyper fun speculation. That's why I started with how seriously we take the people involved. We do like to have fun and explore various topics. My mind, because our usual, your multiverse stuff, my usual stuff is ancient technology versus ancient societies. And, we dance in those fields in the UFO world, right? So my brain just goes to dark projects and to potentially, people talk about breakaway technologies and breakaway groups, right? So I see a loose string there between many of the topics we often talk about. So that's one of the things that sort of has me intrigued to just learn about it with you, man, and hopefully pick apart a few pieces of it and just see if we do see anything that makes any sense at all, or if it's just a bigger rabbit hole. Either way, I think it's worth digging into, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so let's dig into it tonight. I actually had this thought today while I was doing this research. Mrs. CMS says you need HVAC on underground worlds as well. The advanced scientists being extracted for future plans we can only imagine need their equipment cooled. I had this thought literally today. Like maybe
she's a doctor too now. Just to help you, she's a doctor. Like really.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I can imagine it. Just pure speculation here, but some of these people have been tied to looking for water and on exoplanets and the solar system and other exoplanets and stuff like that. This is NASA. This is nuclear physics. This is all kinds of different stuff, right? And so imagine the planet killer is heading for Earth right now, and this is like a Will Smith movie or something. Wouldn't they not be rounding up experts and disappearing them into the underground bunkers and shit as we speak?
I think it could go either way, right? They need to put them in bunkers, or they need to make them disappear because unlike in the movies, the plan isn't to save as many as possible. Perhaps the plan is to make sure a couple make it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let me just go through just a brief summary list of the 11 people we're going to be talking about here. First, there's Amy Eskridge of the Institute for Exotic Science out of Huntsville, Alabama. This was a private company that was being contracted by the government, working in exotic propulsion, anti-gravity. She apparently died by self-exited gunshot wound on June 11, 2022. Now, this one came out most recently, and everyone was like, see, another one, a new one. But this one isn't new. This one's the oldest one, or the oldest one they're tying to all this.
And that was in Huntsville. And the most recent one, the dude in the Tesla, that was in Huntsville in Alabama. And I think your geographic region, I mean, I'm in Alabama, but you're about the same distance from Huntsville, I'd imagine. I am.
I think so. Yeah.
Space, where Space Force is going, and so much stuff has gone on for a long time there, bro.
Oh, yeah. And they have a NASA launch site there as well. Next up is Michael. Yes. We got Michael David Hicks. He's a NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL research scientist working on asteroids and comets. He died at home July 30th, 2023. Cause not publicly released. I'm going to butcher some of these names, but we've got Frank Mywald, the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL principal engineer scientist, involved in space instrumentation and exoplanet detection. He died July 4th, 2024. Cause not publicly released. We've got Monica Jacinto Reza, NASA another JPL director of materials processing. Missing since June 22nd, 2025. She vanished while hiking. We've got Anthony Chavez of the Los Alamos National Lab, construction. He was a construction and R&D foreman. And this is where I say not all these people were scientists. But he did work at a nuclear testing facility. So there you go. Missing since May 8th, 2025. Melissa Cassius, also of Los Alamos National Laboratory, Executive Administrative Assistant. Again, not a scientist, but as an Executive Administrative Assistant, she must have had a high clearance and must have known some stuff. We've got Steve Garcia of the Kansas City National Security Campus. He was contracted by LANL Sandia, nuclear weapons, working on nuclear weapons components. He was a property custodian with top security clearance. So again, a custodian, not a scientist. Missing since August 28th, 2025. We've got William Neal McCaslin. This is the one that everyone's talking about. Retired U.S. Air Force Major General, former commander of Air Force Research Laboratories. Missing since February 27th, 2026. And this guy had a resume like nobody's business. Okay, this guy was one of the most credentialed people and had one of the strangest disappearances out of all of them. There's Nuno Loureiro. He's an MIT plasma scientist and fusions in MIT. He was of the MIT Plasma Science and Fusion Center, professor and director of plasma physics. He was murdered, shot December 16th, 2025. We've got Carl Grillmeyer of Caltech, NASA-affiliated astrophysicist, also looking into exoplanets and galactic structure, murdered, shot on his porch, February 16th, 2026. And then Jason Thomas, which this one I might rule out, but he is of the Novartis Institutes for Biomedical Research, assistant director of chemical biology involved in cancer research. Disappeared December 12th, 2025. Body found March 2026. Ruled a drowning and no foul play. I wanted to highlight quick, Jason, and ask you. So there's these two, Nuno Loureiro and Carl Grillmeyer, that were just randomly shot by random people with no motive, by fairly young men who just shot them. And I can't help but think about MK Ultra. Like, okay, somebody flips this a switch in somebody's brain, and then they just go unalive someone for no reason and walk off. Purely speculation, Jason. Purely speculation. But what? Why don't that doesn't make any sense?
Dude, have they arrested anybody? Do they have
they
shooters?
have both of those. Yeah, both of those shooters are arrested and in jail.
And they were just wanted to shoot somebody.
There's no apparent motive, as far as I could tell. If somebody finds one, or if somebody knows one, let me know.
So I've heard that amongst other things, at least about one of those, I do remember hearing that they were working on something that could have been possibly related to free energy, you know, somehow with these propulsion systems they were working on, that perhaps they weren't space, you know, they were space related, but they lead to free energy here on Earth. And we all know what happens to anyone who creates any sort of free energy or water energy device here on Earth. They don't make it. Just go, you know, AJ from the Y-Files educated me pretty well on the track record for anybody that comes up with an idea for free energy. So, yeah, look, man, I don't believe in coincidences, Dave. Okay, that doesn't mean I'll go completely off the MK Ultra end, but I will. It's a reality, bro. I mean, you know, that is a reality of the world we live in. Right? These things do exist. These Manchurian candidates, these CIA projects, these black budget things, right? It's just, they're real. Go look it up. We don't have to dive into the evidence here. So
nope.
Are we establishing a pattern, you know, I guess would be what I'm interested, if we're going to be responsible. If we have two that we can't find an apparent motive on, you know, and we clock that up, we keep moving. What stood out to me was the hiking. So you had the one, I believe her name was Sarah or Amy. She went missing while hiking, and now the other gentleman, the one you said everybody's talking about, the big name that went missing in February. These all the rest of these were summer of 25. That was interesting. And then he goes in February after the president of the U.S. announces disclosure.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, okay? I'm glad you mentioned that, because on April 16th, 2026, when directly asked about the 10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, and aerospace technology, The president said, and I quote, "Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff." And this happened 3 weeks after this statement happened. 3 weeks after he made a statement saying that they were going to start releasing files on UFOs, UAPs, and extraterrestrial technology.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And that would have been just what, about not even a month after this head UFO, scientist, the one you mentioned, went missing.
Yep. Yes. 1 week after Trump put that on Truth Social, that general McCassis went missing. I'm not laughing at dude going missing. I'm just laughing at the coincidence.
Let's the details of his. Now, he left cell phone. Is this correct? Cell phone, wallet, and keys.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that actually.
We are okay. I don't want to jump.
You can jump if you want. Let's just go right into that. Let's see here. I'm gonna play his wife's 911 call. Okay.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. And so I'm just trying to find my research on him specifically before I do that. There he is, William Neal McCasland, missing since February 27th, 2026. Retired U.S. Air Force Major General, former commander of Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, that's where they supposedly brought the Roswell crash. Just saying. He oversaw $2.2+ billion in advanced aerospace weapons, high-level clearances, including SCI. I'm not sure what that means, during active duty. His wife left at 11 a.m. and returned at 12:04, and he was gone. Phone, prescription glasses, wearable devices, including his Apple Watch, hiking boots were gone. 38 revolver is missing. They don't know that he has it. They just know that it's missing. And a gray U.S. Air Force sweatshirt was found 1.25 miles away, but his family has not identified that as his. So if you're seeing that out there, they found this far away. His family has not identified that as his. And I do think we should take what the family says, mostly serious. Okay. But let me go ahead and play that. This is a very interesting. Do you want to comment quick?
No, not at all. I just shouting out the chat. Renovo 3171. What's up? Katie 123. Thank you. Tammy, yes, we are talking conspiracies. Possibly, we're trying to really look at some fact and just see what we might can conjecture from that. That's more than conspiracy, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. So let's listen to this.
He mysteriously vanished from his home in Albuquerque, New Mexico on February 27th, 2026, within just a 1-hour window while his wife was out for an appointment.
My husband is missing. Okay. And it's been about 3 hours, and I have some indication that he must have planned not to be found. He's left his phone. He changed his clothes into I don't know what. I think he's on foot. All of our cars and bicycles are in the garage. I left for a doctor's appointment at about 11:10, and he was here at that time at the house. And I got back from that at noon, and he was gone. He turned it off and left it behind, which seems kind of deliberate because he's always got his phone.
Has he ever done this before?
Never. Nothing even remotely like it. He's a retired Air Force Major General. He's very responsible.
He left behind his phone, his smartwatch, his eyeglasses.
His wife didn't know if any guns were missing from his gun safe, but officials...
So I'm going to stop that. But yeah, that's the one. That's one of the most recent ones. That's one of the most concerning ones too. No history of mental health issues.
Yeah, and quite a responsible, as you say, individual. I mean, very high up with lots of clearances. again, only supposing, guys, because these are fresh events with people actually hurting. It has all the hallmarks of foul play, right? I mean, leaving everything, the gun missing. What I see is someone there to take him, right? You know, maybe they even knew where his pistol was. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, that's just the type thing I see, because otherwise you're asking yourself questions about why a highly respected, highly responsible, regimented individual leaves home in a manner which he never has, with everything he needs to function in the world and anything that could be used to trace him left behind, except for a weapon, right? You unless maybe he went to do a suicide or something, but obviously all the searches would have found him. He was on foot, right? So I think we can probably safely, until, you know, something else develops, rule that out with the missing gun, you know, because again, I've seen these searches, you know, they've done the ground searches and stuff for this individual. He was very high ranking. So I think we're left with some sort of, he intentionally vominosed from his life, right? Or he was taken from his life.
Yeah, and I just wanted to show this guy. This is a real person here. You know, that was his wife talking. He's got family. He's got people who are missing him, and yeah, it really is a head scratcher, especially when you consider his clearance and where he worked, and like ran a $2.2 billion program at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, for Christ's sake.
Right.
You know,
these people don't just vanish, man, unless, you know, again, if you just want to like try to have fun with it, maybe he was working on some crazy technology and you found a portal and he wanted to jump through and he couldn't get back. I mean, you know, but outside of that, one does struggle, Dave, not to find a nefarious or negative storyline out of this, because as you say, you can hear his family. They're genuine. They're suffering. They're missing him. And you know, well, yeah, it's baffling, dude. It's baffling.
It's baffling, is right.
And there are threads worth, for the audience not familiar, let's just reiterate, Dave, what you said at the start here. The UFO disclosure is announced, you know, and this guy with his clearances and working on that topic, and at the exact same time, you know, it's like all this stuff I look at with you with Mars and everything, man. It's the amount of anomalies, right? That's what always shows me which way to go, is the amount of anomalies.
I totally agree. I think you, though, and the audience, the chat, who's all with us here? Screwdriver Tuning, what's up, brother? Tree Buddy True.
What's up, Tree? Good to see you. Called
into a special project, possibly. That happened on Stargate SG-1. So, you know, there you go. So I want to go through just a few news articles, just briefly, just so we can get a lay of the land. Who's all talking about this, and what are they saying? So first up, we've got Newsweek, trusted, reputable source. List of dead or missing scientists suspicious, quote, as 11th case raised. President Trump has been briefed on a growing list of deaths or disappearances of U.S. experts in advanced space, defense, and nuclear fields in recent years, calling it pretty serious stuff. The White House intervention comes after speculators online moved some lawmakers to call for closer scrutiny of the cases, which include a retired Air Force general's disappearance and a leading astrophysicist killing. No established links between the cases has been made at the time of publication. I'm going to play this video really quick. It's only 1 minute and 45 seconds. Let's hear it.
On February 27th, William Neal McCasland, a high-ranking retired U.S. Air Force Major General, went missing in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the search is still on. Now more than 600 New Mexico residents have been asked to hand over their home security footage as part of the investigation.
Can I just stop there?
Yeah.
That's suspicious.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. In crime cases, especially when someone goes missing, they really do ask for a bunch of, like, everyone or every possible CCTV camera, every Ring doorbell. They try to find everything, right? But I don't know, man. In this particular case, it's suspicious.
Is it evidence finding or evidence wiping? That is the question, huh?
Exactly. So let me keep playing this.
Investigation into the disappearance, and a silver alert has been issued as well. According to the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, 68-year-old McCaslin left his home in Quail Run Court in Albuquerque on foot at approximately 11 a.m. on February 27th. But McCaslin's wife reported him missing when she couldn't locate him after returning 2 hours later. McCaslin previously led the Air Force Research Laboratory and other high-level space and technology programs. He is an astronautical engineer with degrees from the U.S. Air Force Academy, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University.
Holy shit.
His disappearance has now raised concern due to his access to sensitive national security information. His wife recently also confirmed McCaslin's brief association with the UFO community, but denied this might have anything to do with his disappearance. McCaslin's name appeared in 2016 emails released by WikiLeaks involving John Podesta and musician Tom DeLonge, with DeLonge describing McCaslin as an advisor on UFO-related projects. In recent developments, investigators found a grey US Air Force sweatshirt approximately 1.25 miles east of McCaslin's residence on March 7th. BCSO said that is not clear whether the sweater belongs to McCaslin, but the finding prompted additional targeted search efforts in the area. McCaslin's disappearance, of course, comes in the wake of Nancy Guthrie's, this is a show host Savannah Guthrie's, mother. Her disappearance sparked a nationwide search effort after she went missing on February 1st.
Dude, not to take over, but this needs to be verified. But I saw right before we went on here that the guy that attempted on the president's life the other night somehow used to work, or his brother or something used to be a driver for Savannah Guthrie.
I think I heard that, but there's weird connections. I heard another weird connection about
not to side rail us, but just the connections, you know.
Dude, I don't think that's
getting wild.
I don't think that's a side rail, bro. The world is a stage right now, and we're being shown the play. You know, this is a modern day Shakespeare play. You know, and it's very complex, very complex. I just want to show what Wikipedia has to say about it quick.
So the one thing from our video there, I guess, that jumps into my mind, man, is a guy like that, I would have a feeling that his disappearance would immediately raise red flags. You know, the story and the timing, it sounds like, oh, this is just now coming to our attention. I believe that sucker, the second he didn't pick up his little, smartphone when rang, lots of bells went off.
Yeah. Screwdriver said, who would you start collecting if you could collect anyone when a major catastrophe is about to happen? Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Yeah. And we'll get into that because some of these people are NASA people looking into water and exoplanets and shit like that. So,
I do think we should get into it in a bit. I mean, good drive there. Good turn there. Screwdriver was the pun I was going for. There's a lot of school of thought. Good drive. There you go.
Okay, so Wikipedia in 2026, a conspiracy theory. That's literally the fourth, the 1, 2, 3, fourth and fifth words are conspiracy theory appeared, which it did rather appear, that alleges that the deaths or disappearances of several police, some described online as scientists tied to classified or sensitive research, are connected to secret knowledge about UFOs, advanced energy products, material science, or related subject. The cases cited by proponents span several years and involve unrelated circumstances. So right off the bat, in the first two sentences, Wikipedia both says it's a conspiracy and that they span several years and are unrelated circumstances. Does that surprise you?
No, with Wikipedia starting with conspiracy theory within the first sentence, I actually read that as truth alert, read further, So.
Yeah, exactly. Good old Wikipedia. Let's check out what does the always trustworthy CNN have to say about this? Let's take a look.
Oh boy.
Okay. CNN, at least 10 people tied to sensitive U.S. research have died or disappeared in recent years, sparking federal investigation. The House Oversight Committee announced Monday it will investigate reports of the deaths and disappearances of scientists who it said had access to sensitive scientific information. A nuclear physicist, an MIT professor, fatally shot outside his Massachusetts residence. That's an important one. A retired Air Force general missing from New Mexico home. We already talked about him. An aerospace engineer who disappeared during a hike in Los Angeles. These are among at least 10 individuals connected to sensitive U.S. nuclear and aerospace research who have died or disappeared in recent years, prompting concerns whether they are connected and fueling speculation online about the possibility of nefarious activity. Now, this one, to me, seems a lot. It doesn't seem. It seems like it's along for the ride. It's telling the narrative, right? And when CNN feels like it's telling the truth, or seems like it's telling the truth, it makes me question things.
Why, Dave? Why are they talking about it? Okay, here's a question that just popped in my head, right? Why are they talking about it? Why is everybody talking about it now, right? This was back in 2025 when it sounds like a lot of these occurred, right? And now, because the FBI has decided to talk about it, because the president has decided to talk about it. So if in our inquiry of this, we were looking to the government to somehow be involved, be it for the good or the ill of these individuals, why the choice suddenly to start talking about it? You know, if you are indeed doing something in secret, don't you kind of want to keep it below the radar? I don't know. That's just interesting. Why are they talking about it now? Why have they decided to say we're looking into it now?
And why does it seem like they're saying the same thing that the conspiracy theorists are saying? I don't know, Jason. I want to.
They're just doing it in front of us, Dave. Is that it? They're just plain out gonna like see how much theater we can watch. I mean, is that? I don't know, dude. That's.
I possibly. I don't think that CNN gives a flying shit what.
No.
You know, as long as they think it's going to get clicks, they go back from supporting conspiracy theorists to like being against them to supporting them. They don't give a shit.
Well, none of them are going to cover anything they don't have permission to cover. I mean, that's first and foremost, right? So whenever I see anybody on any side of any issue running with similar statements, you know, as you say, whether they're for or with or against conspiracy theorists, right? Why all of a sudden has the script been handed out?
Yeah, and you see that nowadays. Every time something major happens, you hop on X, you hop on Facebook, you hop on every single news channel, and they're reading a script. You can see it. People put together montages of it. You know what I mean? Yes, and they say the same shit. Basically the exact same script. And it really became prominent in COVID. And
we wonder why we can't get monetized.
Yeah. I want now. Since we saw CNN, let's go ahead and take a look at what Fox News has to say. And I'm going to play this short clip. It's just 26 seconds. This is James Comer, Republican from Kentucky of the House Oversight Committee. Let's see what he has to say.
We're very concerned about this. This is a national security concern. This would suggest that something sinister may be happening. So we want to see what we can do. And hopefully with our bully pulpit, we can maybe bring attention to this and have anyone that knows of any information out there, have them contact Congress so we can help determine what's going on here and prevent this from happening in the future.
So the Republicans, completely out of left field, are very concerned with national security and keeping us safe. Which that's my joke, but
I get it.
But that's their whole thing. We've gotta protect these people. This is a national security thing, right?
Yeah, and anytime they're going to scare us, then they're going to come up with something to make us more safe that, you know, takes us away from makes us stay in our home or whatever.
Yeah, or blows up a building with women and children in it in a different country.
There you go.
To keep us safe, yeah.
To take away our liberty. And as I believe it was Benjamin Franklin said, he who gives up a little liberty for a little security deserves neither and will surely lose both.
I love that. I love that. I'm glad you dropped that. This is a 6-minute segment that how are we doing on time here? You know what? I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. This is a guy named Ben Swan. This cat guy, the cat guy on X calls him the legend Ben Swan, covering the missing scientist story. Let's go ahead and play that.
In fact, tonight at least 13 high-ranking scientists and researchers
13 now
either died or have gone missing entirely. All of them tied to nuclear, defense, or space technology. Some of them even warned the public before their alleged suicides that they were not suicidal. First, you have Amy Eskridge, a young, rising researcher, reported dead by suicide in 2022. But before her death, she reportedly said something chilling.
I'm scared. And over the past 12 months, it's been like escalating, like more aggressive, more invasive, digging through my underwear drawer and sexual threats over the past like 3 to 6 months. And now I'm like, I have to publish. I have to publish. It's only going to get worse until I publish. There's no way out of this up situation.
Exactly what she was talking about, we're not sure. Certainly had concerns, she said, about being watched. Even reportedly told friends and family she would never kill herself. And then she turned up dead. That was in 2022. Then you have Michael David Hicks, whose work was connected to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Hicks dies in 2023, and details surrounding his death remain limited publicly. But his name becomes part of a growing list tied to high-level research. In 2024, former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer Matthew James Sullivan is found dead. Interestingly, right before he could testify in a federal whistleblower case about UFOs. There's been no release for a cause of death there. Also in 2024, Frank Mywald, a senior engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, passed away. His work was on space instrumentation and detection of life on distant moons. His cause of death was never made public. No autopsy was ever performed. Another loss, another quiet headline. At this point, neither case is raising eyebrows nationally, right? But then we move to 2025, and that's where things get really bizarre. During the last year alone, we saw over a half-dozen disappearances and or deaths tied to our nuclear industry. In May, when Anthony Chavez, a researcher at the Los Alamos nuclear facility, went missing. Reports say he just simply walked off without any of his personal belongings. Then you have Monica Reza, who disappeared in June of that same year, 2025. Also worked at Los Alamos nuclear facility as a NASA senior aerospace engineer, helping create a special alloy for rockets. She went missing while out on a hike. 4 days later, Melissa Kaisis would also be reported missing, also in New Mexico, also reportedly got up and walked off without any personal belongings. Do you see the trend here? And just now today, we're learning about another death, the death of Joshua LeBlanc. This death taking place in Alabama. LeBlanc was a 29-year-old NASA engineer working on nuclear propulsion systems. He was found dead in his Tesla after a crash. He was burned beyond recognition, but his personal belongings were all left at home. Reports say his car sat in an airport hours earlier, but no trip had been planned. How about Stephen Garcia, who vanished without a trace from New Mexico in August of that year? Garcia worked as a property custodian at a facility that manufactures more than 80% of the non-nuclear components for U.S. nuclear weapons. Nuno Loureiro, a top physicist at MIT, the director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, he was involved in the kind of research tied to advanced energy and weapons. He was shot and killed outside of his home. And by the way, no arrests have been made there. And again, that's all just 2025 alone. This year, though, it's gotten even stranger. And we're not even halfway through. First, in February, astronomer and astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer was shot and killed randomly outside of his home in Texas. Now, in that case, an arrest has been made, but the case marks another highly specialized mind taken suddenly and mysteriously. Then, days later, William Neil McCaslin goes missing again in New Mexico. His work reportedly centered around UFOs and classified space programs. The retired Air Force general, like many on this list, also vanished, leaving while out on a hike. But again, like so many others, he left all of his personal belongings behind. And to this day, he has not been found. And that brings us to today, where just days ago, another UFO researcher, maybe the most famous of all of them, David Wilcock, was found dead in Colorado from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Every day that I have on Earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because
Okay, I'll let David Wilcock finish speaking.
Frankly,
But
people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. And I've had a really rough week. Like, that's kind of like every week. But somehow we keep on making it through all.
Somehow we keep on making it through all this, he said. One day he says every day is a blessing, and he's glad there's an investigation because scientists are going missing, and the next day he's found dead. Authorities claiming from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It's just another layer to a massive and growing mystery, a mystery that is going nowhere. And today, as we told you, Capitol Hill is now taking...
Okay.
What's up, Jeff up north? We got Jeff here in the chat with us.
Yo, Jeff. Thanks for stopping by. So what did Jeff say? McCaslin is the disappearance that put the story on the map for me. He put it on the map for most people. Okay, first off, I covered David Wilcock on Breaking Ancient News with Cody and Aaron on Sunday night, and I don't think that one's connected. I'm sorry. He was having severe mental health problems, according to directly from his family. He was also in severe financial hardships. And, I work in mental health, and you know what? Sometimes people who are very, very depressed are just every day is a struggle. So one day you're telling yourself, I want to be here. Every day is a blessing, because you're scratching and you're clawing for survival in your own mind and in your own soul. And the next day you could lose that battle. And there's nothing about any of those reports or anything. David Wilcock was not a scientist connected to, JPL or NASA or Los Alamos lab. So I'm ruling that one out, guys. And that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think, Jason.
Yeah, Dave, I haven't dug deeply enough into it to comment on a very recent death. I saw some of your coverage, right? And I do believe definitely a few of the clips I did, watch through, that you're looking at a severely mentally ill. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it in a way many of us can identify with.
With compassion, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and have been through at times in our lives. I will leave, I'm going to leave just a little room, because he was such a well-known figure in the public realm, and because of just all the topics he danced in and around. I will leave room for, who knows, maybe there was somebody that wanted to take advantage of his mental illness and push it.
Maybe.
And, things like this could be involved. But I don't argue you at all, Dave, that at least what I've seen laid forth showed a very sick individual that was in need of something very much that he was not receiving.
Yeah, and I will say to that and let me just pull up where to go.
You may be right, Screwdriver. I mean, none of us are certainly, saying, like, I mean, we can't know.
Where did Kay? Okay, yeah. All right. Kay said they are all connected, says All News, a common den. Yes. She's being sarcastic, I think. And let's just pretend for a moment that this is what they want us to think. And we're being led by our noses here. Maybe pushing David Wilcock over the edge makes it even bigger news. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just at least not leave that in with a person that's in that position. Anybody that's in a position where you have a large audience and is dancing around these topics, you're going to have attention on you. And we already know from all the people we've seen talk about the UFO community, we know quite well that there are lots of government operatives that go in there and tell you misleading stuff and try to make you think you're right, and then all of a sudden make you think you're wrong, and it just messes with people's heads, right? So, that's all. I like to say that there could be room for that, but most of all, you just, you saw a person that needed love and a different kind of attention,
Yeah. Screwdriver, how I love you. How are they connected? How was he connected to all those people at all those different labs and their work in science? I mean, besides just like tertiary wise, like if you know and you can tell me, please do so. Tammy said, even David left a note stating we should focus on mental health issues. Thank you. And so, yeah, those are all the news things I wanted to go through. But I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up again. I'm gonna pull it up.
Sigh.
I'm gonna pull it up again. Where did she put that? KD, where are you at?
David is flustered by something. We're gonna figure out what it is shortly.
Well, they are all connected, says All News. A common den, yes. Now, I just want to pose the question. When all of a sudden, the news, you guys, and the government, you guys, is talking about the exact same thing all at the same time everywhere, what does that usually mean? I'm not saying that none of these people didn't die. I'm not saying none of them are missing. I'm just saying, what does that mean to you, Jason? What does that mean to you, Chad?
Okay, traditionally speaking, in that situation, I'm going to look for the narrative, right? Why is this narrative being pushed, right? Okay, I'm going to generally start to look at what are the generalities. Well, it's going to whip up a sense of fear. That's usually what happens with things like this script. You're going to be telling everybody that could it be Mr. Hanky? You're going to be talking about could it be foreign agents? You know, you're going to be generally putting fear up because you're putting out a traumatic occurrence without a resolution. Okay, so that's going to leave fear. Now, what I would wait for next is, are we going to start seeing some sort of resolution posited? You know, or is there going to be some sort of new protection because we got to take care of our people associated with these topics? You know,
or we got to keep everyone safe from the thing that we just discovered that's going to kill you all.
The
right?
president just like dismissed his whole his sole board of science, whatever. I'm probably not saying their title correctly, but they were all summarily dismissed earlier this week. You know, okay. I mean,
yeah. Tammy says if all the news channels are focusing on this, run the other way. Jeff says, and Jeff was live today. I was busy. I'll go check it out later, but I want to see what he was up to. But usually means watching this sock puppet while stuff happens with the other hand unnoticed. Yeah. That's hey. And I got a whole monologue for this at the end of this episode, just FYI. So stay tuned for my monologue.
Yeah, Jeff had a good video on LiDAR that he put out where he
LiDAR.
Yeah, he used LiDAR to find a place and then went to the place and was a bit frustrated by how it worked. And it was good work, Jeff. And as I commented there, you know, that's why I like the LiDAR secondhand. Like I like to go find the place and go, okay, I've got an interesting place, and then go check the map. Anyhow, thanks for being here, dude.
I'm not saying it's not suspicious, Renovo. I'm just saying the government's suspicious, and so is the news too.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, it's a script, and they're putting out. That's why I asked you, why are they all talking about it now? You know.
Yep. So let's go down the list here, okay? Amy Eskridge, co-founder, president, and lead researcher at the Institute for Exotic Science in Huntsville, focusing on anti-gravity, gravity modification concepts, collaborated with her father, retired NASA propulsion engineer. Supposedly she had no government clearance. I want to focus on the strange circumstances. So she texted a friend named, actually won't name this guy, but on May 13th, 2022, 29 days before her death, she said, if you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not. She claimed she was being attacked by directed energy weapon harassment, break-ins, stalking, an anonymous creepy nursery rhyme text urging suicide. Holy shit. She found self-inflicted gunshot, ruled suicide, institute website purged immediately. So her website was purged immediately after her death. No report or autopsy details were released publicly, in a rapid cremation ordered by the family. That's usually very strange. That's a weird one. That's one of the weirder ones. I'm sorry.
That's a very weird one, Dave. That's yeah. So all right, what jumps out to me at that one is the same thing that jumped out to me to the other one in Huntsville. Again, I'll speak delicately here, but in both cases, we are denied an autopsy, and we have body very quickly in the Tesla, supposed before anyone arrives. But then in her case, a hurried cremation. We have bodies burned beyond recognition. So is this giving us room for the fact that these people maybe aren't dead, that they have indeed been whisked away for some purpose?
Yeah.
I don't know, but in either case, you're not engaging your mind or your faculties if you don't see reasons to start asking some questions.
Totally agree. And you know, I hadn't thought about that. If she was rapidly cremated, then maybe she didn't die at all. Maybe she was
We don't
away.
have a body. We don't have a body, do we? It could either be to mask, you know, if indeed it wasn't self-inflicted and you want to hide that, of course. But it could also be, you know, if the family's in with it, then everybody got paid and it's part of the plan, and you know, she's whisked away somewhere. Either way, I guess.
Yeah. So this is Michael David Hicks, died July 30th, 2023. Research scientist at JPL from 1998 to 2022, specialized in physical properties of near-Earth asteroids and comets, the DART mission, the Deep Space One mission. No specific clearance level publicly detailed, but he obviously had a high clearance level, I'm sure. He died at home. His family cited chronic medical condition, no public autopsy or cause details released by family request. No phone or wallet. He left anything at home. Anomalies going on here. So this one I have a hard time with. If his family is saying that he had health issues and his family's saying that they don't want the information released, and there wasn't any weird, like he walked off into the desert, like some of the ones we're going to read here earlier, without any of his stuff.
Right.
I don't know. You know, like you could speculate. One could speculate and say his family was got to or whatever, you know, or if we're talking whisked away bunker stuff or end of the world stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's the only way I think this works, Dave. When you start talking about ones with all this family being involved and family making choices, I think we can only apply them if we're looking at it through that slightly more positive lens where, you know, for some reason they've been needed elsewhere. Yeah, well, that's absolutely true, Amy. I mean, the stuff that's going on at Redstone Arsenal and Huntsville is really crazy. And, you know, that's right up near all the stuff I'm finding. And, man, the caves around that area and the land they have blocked off, and the fact that they brought the Germans there in Operation Paperclip and have been, you know, I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff going on in Huntsville, Amy. You're right. And so I would imagine when Space Force got announced, and look at the building they're building there for Space Force. If you haven't seen it, dude, it's a wild looking thing. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if disclosure comes from there.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't be surprised at anything nowadays. Next up, we have Frank Mywald. Died, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, died July 4th, 2024 in the Los Angeles area. He was a principal researcher and engineer at JPL since 1999 till present, specialized in surface water, ocean topography, imaging, spectroscopy, and special instrumentation for life detection on exoplanets, Europa, Enceladus, Sirius, and more. No specific clearance level publicly detailed, but he must have had one. So no public cause of death or autopsy performed. NASA issued no comment, brief obituary only. So the strange thing about this one is that they didn't tell us anything, and we know nothing really at all.
Okay, let's look at the pieces here as they're coming together. We have Stephen, what's his name, Miller, who is the president, the spokesman, or whatever, whoever the guy's name was, that earlier this year made a statement from the White House about our technology making distance irrelevant, right? That we can bend time and space. Now, when I hear you talk about a fellow like this, who sounds like he really knows how to map things and look at these exoplanets, I start to wonder, maybe the little thing that creeps in, the little maybe, is did we find a way to somehow get to other places in the universe?
Well, if the government or whoever knows that the life on this planet is, not long for this world, they'd be doing shit like that. They'd be looking into Mars. They'd be looking into bunkers, which we know they're doing. We know all the rich people are doing that. The government builds bunkers. Rich people build bunkers. There's the entire planet has like a network of bunkers and underground living spaces. One of the countries, I want to say it's Switzerland, but Switzerland has like more bunkers than like everywhere else in the entire world. That's something to do with World War II. But New Zealand's got a lot too.
I've heard that has the most bunkers because when you look at all the computer generated maps of the pole reversal or what have you, New Zealand comes out in a pretty little spot.
Yeah, but this one feels like somebody found it after this all started getting like newsworthy, like everyone started talking about this, so people started looking for stuff. That's what this one feels like, because there was minimal public acknowledgement of this and his passing, and there's not a lot of information. I think somebody just said, Googled like, did any other NASA people die with potential high clearances? Let's throw him in there too. I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to have an open mind here. But he looks like a nice chap, doesn't he? He looks like a nice fella.
He does. He does. When I have a cup of tea with him. Thanks, Renovo. I must get up early, but on the edge of my pillow, I stay so cool. You do this, Dave and Jason. Yeah, cooler than the other side of the pillow, as they say.
I actually have a pillow supposedly designed by NASA that stays cool all night long, no matter what side you're out. And I also have a sleep system that runs cool water through my mattress all night. Covers my mattress and keeps my mattress nice and cool. I can change the temperature.
Let me know when you and the missus are taking the trip next, and you need a house sitter. Okay.
There you go. All right. Who's this guy? This guy is maybe I'm out of order
John
here.
Malkovich? Is it?
Yeah. You know what, guys? I apologize. I've been doing these a little out of order. That is Frank Mywald. So just FYI. So let me just switch here.
He looks like he knows something.
Now that we're back on track here. So let's share this guy. Can you see him? Or her, sorry.
Her.
Yeah, her. So this is Monica Jacinto Reza, missing since June 22nd, 2025, out of Angeles National Forest, Director of Materials Processing at NASA JPL. Previously, there's a JPL thread going on here. Previously technical fellow of Aerojet Rocketdyne of 30 plus years and co-inventor of Mondelloy super alloy for next gen rocket engines. Apparently this stuff doesn't get hot. Okay, this is what she was working on. It's resistant to heat. No specific clearance level detail, but come on, you work at JPL, so come on. She was on a group hike near Mount Waterman, waved, smiled to companion 30 feet behind at 9:10 a.m., then vanished instantly. No distress call. Extensive searches found nothing. Okay, guys. This one I'm also going to rule out, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. People go missing. Yeah, I was an avid hiker for many, many years. I hiked all around all the national parks in the United States, or at least most of them. I watch shit about national parks all the time. I watch a specific channel called, I think it's called Jeff Hates Hiking. But anyway, this happens like all the time in the deep wilderness. People just take one step one way and fall off a cliff, and they're never seen again. And no one knows what happened to them. They spend a gajillion hours looking for them, and they're lost in a crevice somewhere. And then someone's going to find her in 30 years just because by accident. That's what I think about this one.
Well,
what do you think?
I mean, you know, look, lack of evidence is not evidence necessarily, you know, so I think we have the same buildup that we have on most of all of our other cases. In her case, here's what I heard, Dave, when you talked about the alloy, the thing that stays cooled. I saw dollar signs is what I saw. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
I saw a lot of dollar signs. Now, when there's a lot of dollar signs on somebody, mysterious disappearances seem to take on a different color. So I would say until we find the coyotes munching on a corpse, you know, I'm gonna leave room open for, is it with the others? I don't know, but I go with my gut, and I see a bunch of money on this lady, and you know, in her knowledge and in her work, and it's, you know, what if somebody wanted to do something with it? And she was like, nah, fuck off. And they were like, okay, no problem. You know, away you go.
Yeah. You know, I could also, you know, imagine, you know, like a CIA ninja jumping out of the tree and like bagging her and dragging her off, or pushing her off a cliff or something like that.
And now you're poking fun. I mean,
no, I'm not poking fun. I can imagine that. I'm just looking at it like, what's more likely, because
it's true.
Thousands and thousands of people go missing in the wilderness all the time on
It's
hikes
true.
that aren't even that difficult.
Yep.
And
one snake bite, one twisted ankle, and
or could have came across like a psychopath who dragged her off into the wilderness, you know. And I hope that didn't happen. Praise universe that, you know, some psychopath didn't nab her. But I think all of those things are more likely than the CIA ninja.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. But I guess I'm gonna half agree with you and go split decision on this one. That because we have a missing body, we don't have a body, and we don't have a perp, we don't have any motive, we don't have anything. I think it fits with a lot of the rest, simply because of that.
I'll split decision it with you too. I'm just I'm just trying my best because look, I want to believe this stuff. Okay. So I'm trying to, I'm mostly devil's advocating myself here. Okay. Just so everyone knows.
No, it's a good dynamic. You devil advocate, and I'll sit over here and go, you know, brain works best like a parachute all the way open, and we'll keep ourselves in the middle of the road.
Yeah. So I don't have a picture of this next guy, but Anthony Chavez, retired construction and research development foreman and engineer at Los Alamos National Lab, worked at the Dual Axis Radiographic Hydrodynamic Test, or DART, nuclear weapons test facility. Clearance level not publicly specified. But this type of role typically requires a secret or Q clearance. Left home on foot, car locked in driveway, wallet, keys, cigarettes, and personal items left inside, no phones taken. These are the ones that get weird for me. When they walk off from their house and all the shit. I mean, think about it. What kind of cigarette smoker? Do you ever used to smoke cigarettes? I did. What kind of cigarette smoker leaves their house without their cigarettes? Nope. Like, it's like if you're a cigarette smoker and you get like, 10 feet from your house, you're like, oh shit, I don't have my cigarettes. You know?
Yeah. No, completely. That's exactly the truth, dude. I will turn the car around. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So, and then, where we are on this theme of Los Alamos National Lab, When they're connected to that, or they're connected to Wright-Patterson, or they're connected to what's the other one? Los Alamos. Did I say that one? It gets suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we can find Anthony, but he was a construction research and development foreman, which like could be interpreted as a lot of things, but like, you know, it's one of these engineers that works on constructing these big secret projects, you know?
Well, and so many of those secret projects out there are underground. So if he was in construction at, you know, so much of those bases, right, we hear are underground. So if he was in construction at one of them and research and development, was he perhaps working on ways to build more incredible things underground, which goes along with our thesis of, are they being disappeared to prep for some sort of massive disaster?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
well, though you need those people. That's the thing. In order to have the bunker or whatever for the rich people, you need the engineers and construction workers and HVAC techs and plumbers and everything. You know, you need all that shit.
Yeah, you do.
You know, you need that. This is Melissa Cassius, missing since June 26, 2025, out of Talpa Ranchos de Taos, New Mexico.
Yeah, Jeff.
Now this one also wasn't a scientist, so this is like the fourth one that wasn't a scientist. Okay, so when you see the missing scientists headline, please take it with a grain of salt. Okay,
Dave. While you're holding her, let's go to our chat because somebody just threw us. Jeff threw us a curveball. Okay. Keep an eye out for Project Bluebeam, perhaps. Now, when you say that, Jeff, my mind goes back to why all of a sudden are they all putting this narrative out? Why all of a sudden is everybody talking about the missing scientist? We asked Dave, we said there's fear being engendered. Jeff, could you be hitting on something? Could they be prepping us for a little Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, look, I just showed you a Fox News segment where they were like talking about national security in relation to this. Okay, that screams Project Bluebeam to me. I don't know about you guys, but I don't trust Fox News. I don't trust CNN. I don't trust Newsweek. I don't trust Newsmax. I don't trust any of them. Yeah. And you know, they wrote a damn manual on this, guys. You know, like they wrote a manual on how to scare the fuck out of us about UFOs. Okay, they wrote a manual.
Yeah, and that's a good one, Jeff.
Yeah. So, administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Lab, another Los Alamos National Lab one, but she was an executive administrative assistant with security clearance, handled office supplies, purchasing, and had access to federal meetings on radioactive cleanup. Clearance described as active, but not top secret, Q level, and family statements. The family wouldn't know that. I had a top secret clearance. Okay, a top secret clearance isn't as top secret as one might think. Okay, if you get deployed overseas and you're an officer, you get a top secret clearance. If you get deployed overseas and you're a medic, you get top secret clearance. Okay, so top secret clearance is like sounds fancy, but it's not as fancy as one would think. But why was this weird? She dropped her husband off at work at 6:15 a.m., returned home claiming she forgot her badge. This is the one that actually met. She called in sick for work and said she had to. She requested to work remotely. Then she met her daughter for lunch. Then after she met her daughter for lunch, she dropped her daughter off at 1 p.m. and then vanished. Both of her phones were found at home. Both of her phones were factory reset. One was factory reset at 8:02 a.m. and the other was factory reset at 1:38 p.m. Her wallet, keys, and purse were left behind, and she was last seen walking on Highway 518. What the fuck? What the fuck? This is a weird one.
Yeah, so you kind of primed me with the top secret clearance not necessarily being all that it's cracked up to be, but then you left me with certain signs of foul play, whether they were by her or someone else. that's foul play. I mean, things are factory reset and the person's missing.
Yeah, and then somebody even they must have found out somehow she had a second phone, went back to her house, and then reset that one too.
Boom. Boom.
I mean, I'm laughing at the irony, people, not at the tragedy. Okay, so I don't want anybody to take me the wrong way. This is tragic. If in fact she's like dead and or missing in a nefarious way. But again, we don't know anything. So this could be one of those like whisked away scenarios where her family was given $1 jillion and told to keep quiet, and she was taken to the underground bunker. But she was an executive assistant. So like I don't, and this is with all due respect to executive administrative assistants, but are they at the highest like need level for end of the world scenarios?
No, when you say that title to me, Dave, what immediately comes to mind is probably what we can all think of from a few movie scripts, is somebody who perhaps learned of something by either intentionally or unintentionally that they perhaps were not supposed to know. Right? Especially when I think of somebody going back to erase a second phone, what comes to my mind is somebody that was planning to say something or thinking about saying something or had said something about something that those people she was assisting didn't want anything said about.
It's true. And as executive assistants hear stuff, you know, they hear whispers, they hear stuff. Maybe she was involved with somebody who a little pillow talk. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. I'm just speculating. Jeff said it is said to start with a massive earthquake. Japan just had a 7.7 tremor, meaning potential for a monster is high. I've been following the shit out of geophysicist Stefan Burns, who is reporting all kinds of wacky stuff going on in the solar system, going on the planet. We've got unprecedented numbers of fireballs hitting North America and Europe over the last 60 days. A massive asteroid just passed close to the sun. I forget what it's called, something C2026 that broke up, and now we're likely passing through its stream. And one of those could be a killer. I mean, Tunguska wasn't that big. One Tunguska over New York City, and bye 8 million people.
Yeah, it'll flatten it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Jeff, weird shit is going on the planet right now. And people call Stefan Burns and others like him fear mongers. If you actually watch Stefan Burns, he has some goofy like thumbnails, like it's coming and stuff like that. Yeah. If you've actually watched the video, he's not fear mongering at all.
No, he's very earnest, and he's just trying to educate people on all these different factors of our world that influence us. And I think as we're studying all these weird things that are going on with humans and with culture and civilization, it's cool to pay a little attention to Stefan, because you see that also the Earth is doing its weird and wild thing as well, and also the universe, and also the sun, and which is all, we're an interrelated system. You mentioned weird. What comes to mind, Dave, is Terrence McKenna's quote. He said when we got further along into these times, and he was back in the 60s, 70s, all that, he said that things would get weird, and then they would get weirder, and they would keep getting weird until they got so weird that everybody had to start talking about how weird it was.
Yeah.
Feels familiar.
I mean, I've only been alive 44 years, but I asked my dad the other day, is this the weirdest time you've ever been alive? And he said, absolutely. He's 74. So, there you go. I'm still stuck on the drones too, Renovo. The drones were never properly explained. Okay. So like for 3.5 weeks, it was Drone City. My old producer, Brittany, saw one over her house. It literally made no noise at all. Looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Was flying in a pattern that was quite recognizable on right angles and shit. I don't know what this has to do with anything, but it likely Project Blue Beam related. It's scare the shit out of us stuff, right?
I'm not happy with the report on the drones either. I remember seeing the picture. Oh, it was some tech company testing their, and they showed a drone that was kind of big. What struck me, man, is I've had my own experiences, Dave, day and nighttime of seeing unidentified aerial phenomena, and I saw one during the daytime, and it was extended, and there were witnesses, and it had one of the properties. I'm not going to sideline us on the story, but one of the properties it had, Dave, was it seemed when you looked at it 1 minute, it looked pretty much like one thing, right? Like pretty much. And then when you looked at it again, after you went past a tree or something, it looked different. It looked slightly like maybe it had gotten its shape, slightly askew. And when I heard everybody talking about those drones, that's what everybody said. They said it's so weird that it's like it's sort of a helicopter and then it becomes something else, And my own personal experience tells me that, well, I saw that shit, and this was years ago. It had nothing to do with this phenomenon that everybody's talking about with the drones, right? It was years ago. So, yeah, I'm not satisfied. Is it the government scaring us, or is it actually something? I have no idea, but I've seen these qualities at play.
Can I just see one damn thing? I just want to see one thing, Jason. I haven't seen a goddamn thing in the sky my entire fucking life, and sorry, sorry for swearing, but Sarah says
we're going to go meet on the mountain in North Alabama soon, dude, and we'll get started on that.
My money has been on Blue Beam since COVID, so totally agree. Yeah. Wasn't COVID the most obvious attempt and example of the government scaring the shit out of us for control you've ever seen? Like, unless you grew up in like the Soviet Union or Germany or somewhere in the 1930s and 40s, that's it, right? Yeah.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, we're seeing behavior. I mean, these are the type things that, as you say, anybody that grew up in Cold War Russia would, not bat an eye at. Scientists went missing. Oh, they discovered something, just a part of life.
Yeah. What do you mean, Kay? I want to know why Trump was bothered. Why was he bothered? If you could tell us about that. I'm going to get on to this guy, Stephen Garcia, missing since August 28, 2025, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Another Albuquerque person. Contact property custodian with top secret clearance. Okay, look, somebody's got to clean the bathrooms and mop the floors and whatnot on the 13th floor. Okay, or the minus 13th floor. Okay, and that guy's going to need top secret security clearance, right? Yeah. And I can imagine a world where a custodian walked around the corner, saw a fucking gray alien doing experiments on making an alien hybrid or something. Right. Was like, and then like a CIA, a person saw him and was like, oh shit, yeah, I mean, that's what I would do, right? Right. And he was last seen on home surveillance, leaving on foot, carrying only a handgun.
That was terrifying and sort of arousing. What was that?
Yeah. And again, wallet, phone, keys, car, and all other items left behind. What is up with that? And he left his house with his handgun. Okay. And the facility he was working at was manufacturing non-nuclear and nuclear weapon components. So weapons components, nuclear and non-nuclear. Yeah, look, just because he was a custodian doesn't mean he didn't see some shit that he shouldn't have saw.
I don't think we factor his position in at all. I think, as you say, if you're in that place, I mean, they're not cleaning their own toilets, and exactly, you see something you're not supposed to see. Totally viable. What keeps it going for me is all of the personal shit left behind, man.
I'm just imagining gray alien cleaning his own toilet. KD says his
after
reaction.
He got done mating
during
with
the
an earthling.
During then announcing their presence, he skedaddled. I can't explain more. I'm trying to think of what exact time she's talking about. She also says skies are active. Hudson Valley, Catskills, New York, and all near yet active. Look up more in May. Don't see or don't. I can't. They don't want me to see. Kay. Like I personally, because here's the thing. All right. I went to see the movie Fire in the Sky It's the Travis Walton story. It's one of the most famous abduction cases of all time. And I saw the movie when I was 11. Okay, we're supposed to be going to see some kid movie with the neighbor girl, teenage girl, and we talked her into going to see that. And ever since then, virtually every single night of my life, I go outside and I look for something. And maybe that's my problem, guys. Maybe it's because I want to see. Maybe I just got severe ADHD and I just don't look in the same place long enough. Okay. Maybe it's a spiritual thing. I'm being serious. Like maybe you have to be at a certain place spiritually in order to see some of these objects. I don't know. But for whatever reason, they've never shown themselves to me. I've been all over the world. I've been across deserts, all across the Middle East, the mountains. I've been the deserts in the United States. Like I said, I've been to 25 plus national parks. I've seen so many dark skies I can't even count. I have a telescope. I've spent hundreds of hours looking at actual shit in the sky, and I've never seen anything. I'm not saying there's nothing there. I just don't think they want me to see it.
So, look, what comes to mind, Dave, is having had multiple experiences of very different levels. I will first agree with you that, well, no, let me start here. You mentioned abductions, right? Since it's just between me and you, okay, and nobody's listening. I think there's probably a couple of different camps, right? And the ones that if abductions are real and all of that is occurring, I am more towards believing that is either a separate camp of entities from the things I have encountered, or that could even be government tech that they keep secret and they're snatching people. I don't know. It could be, but if it is spiritual, as some people put forth, then I don't think that's I think that's a separate team, and I'll just say it that way. There are different teams flying around. So the ones I've encountered, Dave, were during elevated, consciousness, no hallucinogens, and normal. I mean, one of them was while driving, on a long trip, man. But when my consciousness was in a certain place, right, and these things, these sightings and these appearances coincided with that. So I would completely agree with you there. I don't think it's a matter of not wanting you to see them. And I would probably end with this, Dave. I bet you got plenty of sightings ahead of you, bro.
I bet we all do.
Yeah.
Sarah is not being funny when she says this, and I totally agree. I think that's probably my problem. Okay,
it's so true.
So just throwing that out there. We already covered this guy. I'm just going to bring him up again quick. This is the most. This is the one that got everyone going. General McCasland, William Neal McCasland, retired Air Force Major General, former commander of Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson, again, where they took the Roswell craft, $2.2+ billion advanced aerospace weapons, high-level clearance. His wife left at 11:10. I returned at 12:04. He was gone. Phone, prescription glasses, wearable devices left behind. Hiking boots plus 38 revolver were missing. Yeah, we already talked about him, but to me, this is this is a guy you'd want to disappear or bring to the bunker or whatever, right?
Yeah, either nefarious or positive disappearances fit this guy's profile.
For sure. And so let's move on to the next one, which is a plasma physicist and fusion researcher named Nuno Loureiro. Let me just go ahead and share his picture. Yeah, cool name, Nuno. That's not what I wanted to share. Come on now. Share. There we go. Handsome fella here. Herman Freshbach, professor of physics and director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, appointed in 2024. World expert on magnetized plasma dynamics for fusion and astrophysicists. Shot in his apartment foyer. Suspect was a former Brown classmate. The classmate died by suicide after a separate Brown University shooting, and he wasn't targeted per authorities. So a classmate from Brown shot this guy. This one is like straight out of like some JFK shit, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, well, you've got the immediate suicide, so it's just like having having Ruby take out Oswald, you know.
Yeah, and you know, the person knew him.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then there's no like apparent motive, and he just rolled up and shot him in his apartment foyer, and like I just want to read this guy's job again. He was the Herman Feischbach Professor of Physics and Director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, and a world expert on magnetized plasma dynamics for fusion and astrophysics. I mean, he knew some shit.
Yeah, he knew some shit, and you wonder why he didn't have security almost working at that level. Yeah, once you start getting into plasma, man, and you know, just in lay terms, and you're bumping against unlimited energy sources and fucking new states of matter, yeah, that's a dangerous profession.
Yep, it is a dangerous profession. Sounds like a hit. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a hit. Now, typically you'd hire a professional to do a hit, but oftentimes they'll, in order to like muddy it up, they'll compromise somebody this person knows, you know, and have them do it, you know, and then it doesn't look like a hit as much, you know.
Right. And then they, you know, whatever, they off that person, and boom, you walk away clean, and it looks all muddy.
Yeah, exactly, because sometimes a hit looks too clean, you know. Right. So it, yeah, and so
you're going to attract attention. It's a lot easier if you have, if the average man just hears knew him in college, crazy guy, they just go, oh, okay, they had some beef, you know, and it's gone. It's like you can report it and it can disappear. Yeah, if you got a Louis Mangione, is he the one that shot the CEO, you know, that they did the big manhunt for? You get something like that, you've got national headlines, you know, for a couple of days. So yes, it's much easier to compromise someone, you know, in need with a myriad of ways and have them do it. And then instead of giving them the promised payoff, you just suicide them.
Exactly. You know, and sometimes the promised payoff is, hey, we'll leave your family alone, but they don't tell them we won't leave you alone. You're done. Right. You know?
That's it.
I keep laughing, but I'm only laughing because this is fucking absurd, you guys. Like this.
It's absurd that we're talking about it in reality. Yes.
Yes, it really is. So
and
next
we're not meant to take on board so much, Dave. You know, in a lot of ways, we have to now. We have to become aware of these things and awake to them, but we're not really built for it, dude. So laughter, you know, is sort of a natural response, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, the shit that we used to laugh at and make fun of in Iraq would make most people's stomachs turn. I think back to it and feel like a terrible person, but I know, you know, the time and place that I was at and just trying to survive, right? And also talk to anybody who works in emergency medicine, and they'll tell you that I mean, if you put a like hidden audio recorder in a break room at an emergency medical facility, you would hear some fucked up shit and you'd be like, what the fuck? But you could do that at any single one in the country and you're going to hear that. So just FYI, just throwing that out there. It's a coping mechanism.
Absolutely, 100% it is, dude. I don't think it's anything you have to apologize for. I do it myself. I find myself in conversation, especially these days, constantly. Talking about the realities that I faced in my own life, and I'll be on the phone with somebody, and we're talking about something terrible, but you'll find yourself laughing as you say it because it's just a way to deal with it, man. It's so out there.
Yeah. And the only reason why I say I think back and feel like a bad person is there's a concept called moral injury, right? And if you're placed into a situation where you have to do things and you say things that are just outside of your, regular moral compass, but you're also in a situation that's like you said, you're not supposed to be in. Your heart and soul is not supposed to be there. Then you end up thinking back years later, was I really that person? And I know it's not my fault, but it's just one of those things, that I can't help but think back. I still talk to my therapist about shit like that. So, it's what it is.
Yeah, I know. And I know you're working on it, but yeah, you got to absolve yourself of that, man. That's all I have to say to you on that, bro. You got to absolve yourself on that.
Appreciate it, brother. Carl Grillmeyer died February 16th, 2026. Retired research scientist at Caltech's Infrared Processing and Analysis Center, which is a NASA partner. 30-year contributor to NASA missions, the NEOWISE and the Spitzer, on exoplanets. So there's the exoplanet thing again. Galactic structure and dark matter. Fatally shot on home porch. Suspect, a 29-year-old with prior arrests, charged linked in carjacking and burglary. So that's the perfect patsy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you get a guy who looks like a criminal, smells like a criminal, acts like a criminal, and you get him to go shoot somebody because you don't want them talking or you want to take over their research or whatever.
Yep. It fits the bill, and I'm curious about all this exoplanet stuff, man.
Yeah, that's two now. That's two doing the exoplanet, which is interesting. I just feel bad for all these people too, unless they're somehow involved and they get one of the 3,000 seats on the fucking life raft. I don't feel sad for them. But if something terrible happened to any of these people, man, I really do feel sad. But the reality is, some of these people could be on the fucking life raft to, our next home planet,
right? or building the underground structures, to make sure they survive it on this one. Who knows? Is it positive? It means they're alive, yes. But is it positive because it means we're not included? See, I'm laughing again.
Well, it's funny to think about, you know what I mean? We're all like, oh, shit, what happened to these people? This is terrible. This is the government's offing these scientists. Meanwhile, these scientists are either in a bunker about to survive the fucking big one, or they're on a life raft space life raft about to survive the big one.
Living their best life over on exoplanet XYZ, setting up for future generations. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're in some sort of biological stasis. They're going to wake up on what's the closest star to our fucking I forget off the top of my head. It doesn't matter.
Oh, they wake up at Nibiru and
yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, Carl, I hope you're on your way to Nibiru, bud.
Yeah, I hope so, bud. Go tell us what they did with all the gold, and
yeah,
fare thee well. Yeah.
And we're on the last guy, and this guy, I'm not buying this guy.
Is this the Tesla guy?
No. The Tesla guy's 12 or 13. We're not covering 12 and 13. We're covering 1 through 11. Okay. This is a chemical, and so this is Jason Thomas. Disappeared December 12th, 2025. His body was found March 2026. assistant director of chemical biology at Novartis Institutes for Biomedical Research in Somerville, Massachusetts, focused on biochemical, biophysical techniques and cancer research. Recently lost both parents. Wife noted severe depression, walked away after a normal evening. Apple Watch and belongings left behind. Body recovered from a frozen lake. Ruled drowning and no foul play. Cancer guy. Let me read that other thing again, because there was something before that.
Okay.
Focused on biochemical, biophysical techniques and cancer research. So those are two different things, right? I mean, kind of. I don't know. It's just...
one would think so, unless they're somehow spreading cancer through biochemical weaponry, which.
Yeah. Katie just opened a can of worms over there that I'm gonna pull up as well. But you know, similar stuff though. Leaving his shit behind, right?
Yeah.
But people do that when they're walking off
to kill
the
themselves.
deep end.
Yes. Are how many people walk into frozen lakes? I wonder. You know, I mean,
is that a good way to go?
I don't. I've had my experience with cold water, and it's. Now I hear that drowning itself, once you finally reach the state of drowning, you know, is a very peaceful way to go. But I would imagine falling through ice and waiting for that moment is probably not the way most people would choose to go, bro. So now we're asking, did he accidentally fall into it? But if the wife is telling me he was depressed, that sounds like the narrative they're trying to push is suicide. And again, are we sure that walking into a lake is how you do that? A frozen one at that.
I will tell you, as somebody who's taken many an ice bath, after like 2.5 minutes of holy shit, get me out of here, your body totally relaxes, and then you can like chill there. As long as you can control your breathing, it's actually quite the relaxing, refreshing experience. And there's your body, I'm not going to brain or bro science you on it, but your body releases and your brain releases all kinds of chemicals and endorphins and shit that get you, to that state where you just chill out, and that feels pretty good. So I don't know, maybe. I don't know. It's a weird one, but he's a maybe for me. He's a maybe for me.
I would say the same.
Because even his title, like, I'm just going to read that one more time because I don't know what the fuck this means. Focused on biochemical, biophysical techniques. Biochemical. Okay. I mean, that might have something to do with, surviving the big one.
Yeah, it might. It also might have, it could have anything to do from health to, who knows, high-tech weaponry for all we know.
Okay, JC 1095, is it surprising that the mainstream media has been talking about this story? Yes and no, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And
that's one of our big questions, JC. Yeah.
What? And I just want to. We're not going down this rabbit hole, okay? But this happens in the music industry as well. Yeah, it does. In the music industry, certain people who reach a certain level of fame that don't decide to, go to the white suited party or drink the whatever blood or whatever it is you got to do. They end up getting called a rhymes with Rito on national news for 5 years, or they get killed. Yeah. Right. And so it happens there. It happens. It happens in the music industry. It happens in the entertainment industry, broadly speaking. So you got to drink some Kool-Aid, or you can't be part of the club.
Yeah, Precisely, whether forced or not. I remember I don't remember who the prominent hip hop artist was who was talking about how it goes down. He said, man, it's precisely like this. He says, you're at the point where you got a song you want to record, you go in and, so-and-so big label or whatever, and you're there at the studio. It's like you go in, man, you hit the song, you nail it, you record it, everything's awesome. He says, then you go out and party tonight. And he's like, and then you wake up tomorrow morning, you don't really remember last night, and you go back in for your meeting because you're going to sign the deal that morning. And they say, hang on a second, we want to show you something. And they put in a tape of what they did to you last night after they drugged you and you passed out. And they say, listen, man, now you want this to go back home and you want this all over the streets real quick, or you want to take this much tiny bit of money and, give us all the money. And you've got control at all levels, man.
Do you remember
everywhere.
D12? Do you remember D12? They were a hip hop group from the Detroit scene that was related to Eminem. Not related to him, but they were his buddy. They're part of his crew. Anyway, there was a guy in D12 named Proof, and he went to. I'll leave the record label out because record labels will kill your ass. But he went to the record label meeting with the whole group, saw some shit that he won't say what it is. And then on the 13th floor of a building, by the way, that didn't have a 13th floor on the keypad, the person who escorted them to the top had a special key access that took them past the 12th floor to a 13th floor. Mm-hmm. And then he saw some shit, and then he turned around and he left. And then he got basically kicked out of the group and didn't get to hardly be on the album and yada 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 yada. So this shit happens, and this is a damn rabbit hole. Damn it, KD. I said I wasn't going to go down this rabbit hole, but. Tupac, Michael Jackson, Kurt Cobain. There's a bunch more. Okay, there's a bunch more. Yep. So yeah, that's the last guy. And we're gonna show. Jason, if you still want to, I'm gonna show us after we do our closing comments. I'm going to show. My most recent clip from my most recent video. You're welcome to do so as well and talk about what you're doing. But any like final thoughts about all this?
Not really, Dave. I mean, as far as what I mean by that, yes, I'll fill some air here and say some things that I think I've taken from this, but I haven't come to any conclusions. That's for sure. I've gotten better educated on it, and I like where Jeff took us. I like the blue beam idea because that fits with what I already know and have learned from the way these staged or whatever these big events work. Is as soon as you start hearing something that's going to cause general fear and panic, I'm looking for what's coming next, what form of control is coming next. So blue beam or something along those lines, right?
Yep.
In my mind, blue beam is sort of standing for all the possible potential ways of control that could be coming. But I also like to be an optimist. I do. I'm a realist. I'm ready. But just in case, I do sort of like the idea that perhaps there is, a chance these people are alive. Again, I know that doesn't really do anything for us.
Some of them.
We're not part of the plan, right? But I have my own beliefs about all that disaster stuff because, we don't know what's coming, man, and we really don't. I mean, just the fact that we can sit and let Stefan Burns tell us we're passing through a blown up comet right now. Nobody saw that one fucking coming. We're sitting here talking about Younger Dryas one day, 12,000 years ago, and then all of a sudden you turn on the Stefan and you're like, oh, what, again? I mean... and that's not part of the whole pole reversal prediction thing. So, I don't have really negative feelings about all of that. And if that's what they're up to, I think they're probably wasting their money. But all in all, I think it's been well worth covering, Dave. Even if what we're learning is that it's being covered so much for a reason. I think that was a good find we had here, was questioning why it's being covered so much and so well, you know.
I do. And I'm glad you mentioned, shout out to the chat, by the way, and giving us lots of good things to think about tonight.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, this relates to what we cover all the time, which is cyclical civilization, right?
Yeah.
Biological humans have been around for 300,000+ years, right? And nothing lasts that long, right? Except big ass stone blocks, and even those don't last 300,000 years. I mean, because over the course of 300,000 years, you're gonna have earthquakes, comet impacts, pole reversals. Who knows it, right?
Floods,
fires, everything. Yeah. So I mean, it could be that, you know, we're on the verge of something like that, but even growing up in like the 80s and 90s, there was always something, right? You know, I even remember my mom, like, because when we were talking about Y2K, my mom would be like, you know, in the 70s they were saying this, and in the 60s they were saying that, right?
Yeah.
So this could be just like an overblown version of that. But it did. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to agree with you there that you have to be honest and say that a lot of this could also honestly be psyop material. You know, all of this stuff. Maybe the bunkers are for the nuclear war they want. I mean, you know, it's the world we live in. If we don't honestly question, you know, every narrative that's got big government and big money and elite billionaires attached to it.
Yep. And I just want to leave everyone with one important thought. My favorite show of all time, seen it a bazillion times, every single episode. Have a poster up here on the wall for a reason. The X-Files. One of the smartest things the X-Files ever did was show the government conspiracy kept feeding Fox Mulder information, right? They gave him just enough leaks, documents, and breadcrumbs to make him feel like he was one step away from cracking the whole thing wide open. Well, they were actually the ones guiding him the entire time. They used his own hunger for truth against him. I can't help but feel like something very similar might be happening to all of us right now. This story about the 11 missing dead scientists has suddenly exploded everywhere all at once. Fringe channels, big independent accounts, mainstream news, everyone's algorithm pushing it into their feeds simultaneously. Coordinated? I don't know. It feels designed to make us all think, finally, we're onto something big, Jason. Finally, we're onto it. We've got them, right? I feel the same way about the Epstein files. So here's a closing message for everyone. Be extremely careful. Don't let the rush of believing you're uncovering a massive conspiracy cloud your judgment. Obviously, question the timing. Question why it's everyone, everywhere, all at once. Question who benefits from us all spreading this narrative as far and as fast as possible. Sometimes the most effective way to hide the truth is to make the entire public feel like they're the ones discovering it, okay? Stay curious. Keep digging into the facts of each individual case, demand evidence from these motherfuckers, but never stop thinking critically about how and why this information is being fed to us the way it's being fed to us, because if there really is something here, the smartest play would be to turn us all into Fox Mulder, chasing the story they want us to chase.
Well said, sir. Bravo. Very well said. And I think that's perfect. We happened upon that question early in this show, and it was the through line, and you wrapped it up, I think, quite well. Is that once the narrative or the main line, all the mainline outlets start talking in lockstep, you immediately should have your bullshit filter kicked on and start opening your eyes and looking around real soon. Dave, I think the only thing I'm going to add to you in closing is when we're talking about all this, guys, and yes, it is heavy, and yes, it is depressing, and it is all of these things that we have to laugh about because it's just so damn overwhelming, just remember that I honestly believe everything's going to work out for us. I really, really do. And I get that way by going outside. I spend my time with nature. I try to disconnect as much as I can from all of these things I have to talk about and all of these screens that I have to be in front of. And I try to get myself in touch with what's waiting out there in the natural world for all of us. And I just advise you to all try to do that some during your day. You see the lightning striking behind me. Get out whatever the weather is and enjoy it, and take your shoes off, walk barefoot on the earth for a minute, and just connect with your own local micro environment, because there's a lot of beauty here, guys. There's so much waiting for you. And just don't let all this noise, we examine it because we're curious and we need to stay informed, but we can't let it get us emotionally or hit us in our core. We should stay centered. Thanks, Dave.
I love that. I do. If I were to add to that, I try to stay grounded by because in times like now, it just really distracts you from making plans about the future and setting future goals and trying to better yourself. And people can get stuck years looking into this stuff and they never advance themselves in their life in any particular way. This has happened to me before. Okay. I'm not on a soapbox right now. Okay. But I would like to make a special announcement right now. Yesterday, I got my acceptance letter to the University of Southern California's Doctorate of Social Work program. I'm going to be doing that starting in August, and I'm very excited. And the reason why I'm excited is because it's got me forward. It's got me forward thinking again, and at a time like now, we're talking about the end of the fucking world. We're talking about government Project Blue Beam. We're talking about, AI apocalypse. I want to feel like I'm moving in a direction that's positive for me and positive, and I'll be able to help people with it. And that's got me feeling a lot better the last couple of days. You know what I'm saying?
You're looking good. Tell me the name of that. The doctorate of what again? Tell me.
It's a doctorate of social work. Yeah.
Okay. See, social work. Now, Dave, in this world that we're talking about, trying to keep our minds off of, where things are going to be collapsing, getting weird, going crazy, what would be most needed, especially from a gentleman with your own life experience, your own trials and tribulations that you surmounted, and the things I know personally you care about, those others that suffer? It sounds to me like you're not looking forward in some sort of artificial way, finding false hope. It sounds to me like you're getting yourself well set up and prepared for what the world and those around you are going to need in this coming time.
Yeah.
And that's why you feel so good about it. You're on the rail, man. What Joseph Campbell used to say, he used to say it like this. He'd say, oh, you just, it's like this. In your life, you're either on the rail or you're off the rail. And when you're on the rail, when you're on the rail.
Yeah. I've been off the rail for several years now with my stupid back injury. And, this isn't, look, I'm trying to say is that you go outside, like Jason said, and set some goals, okay, for the future, and connect with your fellow humans, okay? In a time like now, they're always trying to tell you that someone's your enemy. They're always trying to scare you. Say hi to people at the grocery store, at the gas station. If they don't say hi back, have compassion for them, When
systems fall apart, what are you going to want, Dave? You're going to want to know the people around you. You're going to want to have a few friends and people you trust. You're going to want community. Correct. Go within and get outside and talk to your higher power, whatever you refer to it, and build some community. And leave it up to us. We'll focus on this crazy negative stuff once in a while, and we'll laugh at it too.
Yeah. Jason, you started a new endeavor with your channel. You've been going hard in the paint on this. You're like Dennis Rodman down there in the under the rim, going hard, grabbing rebounds, but instead they're rocks in the wilderness. Can you tell us what you've been up to, man?
Man, so I've started my own series called Finding Things Within and Without. I took that from a Rumble series of singular videos. I did 8 of those videos a couple of years ago, back when I was doing stuff on Rumble. And I'm now that I've sort of had a good bit of experience sharing my findings and my work, I'm trying to develop a platform for myself, a way in which I can start really putting out my work, which it's called Finding Things Within and Without. I call myself Shaman 711 for a reason, because not only have I found these things, which many of you have seen me go on and on about, but it all started with a personal process of going through quite a troublesome, painful transition with a lot of, pain and suffering in my own life. And I went looking for, as Dave said, something else. I found my higher power, God as I call it, and I began a process, Dave, of walking a new way, seeing this world with some new eyes. And so I'm just trying to do 2 things: figure out how to start telling that story, and at the same time get a little better at this whole podcasting thing, not only the mechanisms and apparatus of it, but just the ability to sit here and communicate properly with people and give all of these things which, the natives, man, and all of the history and the stories which I feel have been put forth on me to tell, to try to take that seriously and develop myself and get it all done in a proper manner. You can find all of this, guys, by just going to my YouTube channel, Shaman711, or X. I'm streaming to both X and YouTube, and I'm doing 3 episodes a week on top of all of the other podcasting commitments with the Institute of Natural Philosophy, with you and all the other friends we have in this community. So yeah, I'm going to be diligent. I haven't started announcing episodes, Dave. When I feel it, I go, and I'm going to just do it that way until I get, I don't feel, if I'm asking people to schedule their time, right, I feel I should be confident that I'm going to definitely be providing, what they come to see. So while I'm still learning, I'm just going live 3 days a week and seeing where it goes, man. Thanks for letting me talk about it for a minute.
You're welcome, buddy. I always really appreciate when you join the show. Since Mike left, it's been hard for me to do live streams because I don't like doing them by myself. And Megan's great. Megan's great. But like, maybe we can do one together. I'm going to try to do just a straight live stream with Megan. See how that goes.
I love Megan. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, everyone loves Megan. She is great. But yeah, I wanted to do a couple quick things. We're sponsored by Spores MD. You want to grow some totally legal mushrooms. Go to Spores MD. Use promo code Dave's Multiv with no ERS at the end. The link is in the description. And oh yeah, I wanted to really quick show my most recent episode because I'm super proud of it. It's performing really well. It was with Dr. Heather Lynn, who is like a total rock star, man. She is a brilliant lady, and she's written several books, and she talked to us about the Anunnaki, AI, all kinds of different things. And it was a really fun conversation. And so I am going to show a quick short from her and from the episode with her.
Great.
So here we go. Hold on 1 second. That's Stephen Burns. Never mind. There we go. And make sure that pops up. It's not working. Either way, excellent episode. Excellent episode. Go check it out. Sometimes my YouTube's been like doing the whole thing lately. It's been pissing me off. Also, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, like and subscribe to Dave's Multiverse. Like and subscribe to Shaman711 on YouTube. 711 _ on YouTube. Oh snap! Is that you sharing something? You got it?
Well, no, I was just going to fill it in while you were there. Yeah, I see. So
yeah,
I just
fill it in.
Find it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on your tab. Oh man, I'm going to do what you did, Dave. I'm going to sit here and have too many tabs. So here we go. I'm on the right one.
This is Finding Things.
So
please, I can find mine.
Episode number 9.
So what you see, guys, this just shows you what you're going to get if you tune into my show. You're not only going to see me talking about things, bringing in maps.
6 my time. That's in 2 hours.
Bringing in LiDAR of everything I'm finding, then bringing in, of course, watch-along video here. Let me reach a nice place to let it play. You'll see me.
But the reason, backstory for you is interesting.
If that's loading.
Is
Restream mode, you never know.
Circular metal deposit.
Is you're going to find me here, finding things within and without, showing you everything I found in Alabama, using maps, using imagery, and sitting and talking with the chat a lot, which I found to be surprisingly pretty cool part of doing this whole live stream. And so it means a lot to me when you guys show up.
Let's go.
Okay, Dave, so it looks like I'm not sharing. Have you found yours yet? Mine's like getting all blurry.
You're sharing.
There we go.
30 or 40 minutes.
Okay.
Left, and these are little
Yeah, guys, so I've got 9 episodes of
And
this
we'll
out
just
so far
continue
of
to
me just showing my work, doing my thing, interacting with you guys, and trying to tell the story of antediluvian Alabama and, well, Chief Tuscaloosa and Hernando de Soto and what happened at the Battle of Mobila. That and have a bunch of fun with you guys and try to build community.
That's what I like, is you're just sitting there being yourself, showing what you're working on, building a community, and hey, that's fun. Community's fun, right?
Well, it's important, Dave, and I'm not going to keep us going, but man, everything we've talked about, one of the solutions for it is community. When you're talking about all these things going on at such a high level, how could you fix that? Start taking power away from the high level, and I don't mean that in any sort of massive, violent, revolutionary way, but when you start building community around you and start empowering yourself and those around you,
that's how we're going to get through this, and that's nearly the antidote to this. So community is very important.
Yeah, it is. And I found it. I got it. Here we go.
Brilliant.
Dr. Heather Lynn, here we go. And I don't got it. No, that's the wrong one. Why?
Cassie.
Yeah, that's Cassie. Lots of good episodes, though. Cassie, Secrets in Stone.
Dave's doing so much. Yeah, just follow the multiverse, guys. I mean, even though he can't find his clip, he's talking to everybody.
He's covering so many different topics, talking to everybody, and as you see he's doing here with me, he's interested in community, So definitely give him a follow and keep finding us and hanging out in the chat and talking to us, and we keep building all this shit together, man, is the way I really see it. And that's what I'm grateful for, Dave, is I'm grateful for you and the little, all the folks we have around us in this community, man. I wouldn't be doing it without y'all, man.
Need some outro music, Jason. We need some outro music. Next week, I'm dropping an episode with archaeologist, an underwater archaeologist named Emily Stamiti. And she found a castle in Scotland. Yeah, underwater.
Wow.
Very cool. Yeah.
That is going to be cool, man.
Very cool. And you know what? Did you know that archaeology is a good old boys club, and they don't like women doing well in it?
I have. Well, yeah. I would not be surprised. I've run up against some good old boy stuff in archaeology.
Yeah, and so she shares very interesting, journey through academia and archaeology, and the statistics of women being at the highest levels of academia and archaeology versus the lowest. It's like 90% of women who have, it's like 90% women who have graduated since 2010, and 10% of men of them are at high levels. It's very interesting. I probably screwed that up, but it's that crazy of a
Right.
of a ratio switch. Yeah. And so it's very interesting. She also does a bunch of archaeology with disabled people. So she sets up places where you can do archaeology, and she makes it she finds out whoever's going, whether they're blind or they have walking impairments or whatever, and she tries to make it as accessible as possible to them. It's really quite beautiful.
That sounds rather angelic, Dave, actually, is how that sounds. That's very, very cool, man.
She is a very angelic lady, Emily Stamidi. And then the following week, we have an episode with a guy named Sam believe it or not. And he runs the #1 ayahuasca retreat in South America, which is about an hour south of Medellin, Colombia. And we talk ayahuasca, we talk psychedelics in general, we talk the recent executive order to make psychedelics more accessible to veterans and to everyone. And it's a really interesting conversation. So yeah, look forward to more multiverse shit coming down the path.
I love ayahuasca talk. Looking forward to it, man.
What are you going to do?
Myself, what have I got coming up? I've got some more adventures coming up. I've got more shows, finding things within and without, 3 days a week on my YouTube channel. And
no, I mean like right now. Like, what are you going to do right now?
Right this minute, I'm going to go walk Jacob.
My
puppy dog. I gotta go get in the rain and take him for a walk.
It's still raining?
Yeah, it's supposed to rain on through the night. We're getting the tail end of all those storms that were hitting the middle of the country today. Yeah.
I think it might be going to be raining tomorrow too. I'm going to also take a walk. I'm Sarah, if you're listening, I'm not going to look for any UFOs.
That's it.
But I just want to say thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Light, love, and truth. But remember, they're not telling us the truth. Okay, the truth is within you, and it's within your community. So do with that as you may. Good night, everyone. Good night, Jason. Thank you again for joining the show.